Alrighty, so one of the things that I do for the course that I teach, which is the childhood level math methods, is I share a lot of picture books with them that feature some of the math practices like perseverance in math, but also particularly women and people of color in mathematics and science fields. So I've been collecting books, and normally what I would do is bring different collections of books with me to class every day and have them look through them and share them and pass them around. And I'll either read them aloud or have the students volunteer to read them aloud. But now with COVID not passing them around, I had to find some other way to share the books with them. And I could have just read them to them in class, but honestly, I'm in Skelny 141, and even under the doc cam, it didn't work really well, and just holding up the book, nobody could see it in back. So what I did was created a read aloud on iMovie. So let me share my screen, and I'll go through how I do that so that they can get a really good broadcast. There we go. Okay. So they can get a really good view of the book, and it's also recorded and they can look at it later. We can pause it, and then they get a chance to come up with their engage, explore, explain, extend questions, things like that. So, all right, here we go. All right, so now you can see my screen. So I go into, what I've done before is I take the picture book and I take a photo of each page of the book. Then you go into iMovie. Can you all see this?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're good. Okay. Okay, so add a movie, create a movie, and then you go to the photos that you want to select. So I took all of the photos of this book, which is called The World Is Not a Rectangle. It's a portrait of architect Zaha Hadid. And so I'm going to select all of those photos of the book, and at the bottom, create movie. And then it takes a second to compress it to upload all those photos, and then I'll put it into the iMovie template. So you can do this with any photograph. You can do it with PowerPoint, with keynote slides, anything that you want to create into one big long movie. All right, so then I go to the beginning, to the very first page, select the page, and then the first thing I want to do is pinch to position the start. So if you see that right, overlaying the photo, I take the top of the photo, that's where I want the scan to start. So that's where it's going to start scanning that photo. And then I click the second arrow, and then I pinch to where I want it to stop scanning at the end. Okay. So now I've positioned that page of the book. So as I read over it, it will scan that photo. Things that we remember seeing from reading Rainbow when we were little. All right, some of us are older, so then remember reading Rainbow. All right, so now that I have the photo the way that I want it, I want to overlay it with the read aloud. So I'm going to click the microphone over to the left here, and as soon as I'm ready to record, I hit record, and it's going to give me 3 seconds to get ready. Actually, let me get my book out so that I can see the actual book while I'm doing the read aloud. So, all right, so I press the microphone, I'm ready to record. Gives me 3 seconds. Today I am reading The World Is Not a Rectangle, a portrait of architect Zaha Hadid by Jeanette Winter. Stop it. I liked what I recorded. If I made a mistake, I can stop it and then click retake and do the recording again, but I liked that, so I'm going to accept it. Now the issue at the bottom here is the recording is longer than the photo. So I want to click on the photo and make it as long as the recording, so that by the time I'm done speaking, it's scanned the whole picture, but it hasn't gone on to the next page yet. Okay, so I'm done with that one. So now I want to go on to the next one. Again, I do a pinch. This time I want it to go from left to right. So I want it to start scanning there. And then I want it to stop scanning there. Okay. And I go back to the beginning and set my recording. So So I'm ready to 3, 2, 1. In Iraq, rivers flow through green marshes. Wind swoops across sand dunes and through ancient cities. Stop, I like that. And then I stretch the photo to match. All right. And then I'll take you to the finished product. At the end, you want to save it. It'll give you an option to save it, and you want to save video. And then it's going to save the video in your photos, and then you can upload it onto Ensemble and then put it in Blackboard. So let me see, finished product is right here. I don't know if you can hear but you can see how it scans the photo. And there's
Whitney,
an,
hit the mute at
oh
the
wait, here.
top. Yep.
There we go.
Marshes. Wind swoops across sand dunes and through ancient cities. Zaha Hadid.
So then it goes
sees
through the whole
rivers
book
and
like that.
marshes And dunes
So.
and ruins with her father, and imagines what.
And now they
cities
have a
looked like
collection
thousands
of
years ago.
I'm gonna stop my share. So now they have a whole collection of read alouds, different authors, different math concepts, different people featured in math fields. And they can use those to just watch themselves to get ideas of books they want to put in their lesson plans, or they can practice their questions. So I haven't done it with any other photos yet, but now that I've been doing it with these, I want to try to do it with different things so I can just narrate without it having just be PowerPoint slides, but I could bring in different photos or things like that. So
Very
pretty
cool.
quick.
That's awesome. That's awesome. That is so cool. And I mean, what a cool experience, because those students, even in a normal situation, they either only have the book when you're in class, or they have to come to the library to get the book. Like now they have those books anytime they need them. Very cool.